Welcome everybody to another Haven of Horror. This is kind of our decades of horror, but we're not gonna get to all the decades like we did last year. So I'm just kind of cherry picking the ones we cover, uh, doing the ones that I wanted to do. And today we are
Yeah,
doing Night of the Living Dead. My camera
there it
filter's really
is.
messing with
It doesn't want to show it. It's too blurry.
it. Somehow the last one of these we've covered because I've already done Day and Night or Day and Dawn. And I've done the remake of this, which is very good.
Yeah, I couldn't remember if you had already done this movie before, but I guess I was thinking of the remake.
Yeah, we did the remake with the great Tony Todd. Um,
Yeah.
so obviously 1968, George Romero kind of created a subgenre. By kind of, I mean it did. But it's interesting going back to this, right? Because the rules aren't set yet.
Yeah. This is the kind of the thing that establishes like everything everyone knows about zombies.
I'd argue that it's actually not. But before we get into
Oh,
that, I'm
okay.
getting ahead of myself. Uh, Give us a plot synopsis. I couldn't think of the words.
So, Night of the Living Dead, it's about a group of people trying to survive a zombie outbreak as soon, right in the beginning of it happening. But first we meet this woman Barbara who's going to the grave of her father with her brother, and there at the graveyard they run into this zombie who attacks them. Then Barbara, runs away as her brother gets eaten by the zombie.
As
Um,
you tend to do.
yeah, as you tend to run from zombies. And she finds this house with um, this guy Ben, um, who kind of takes the role of main character from her at a certain point. And then you have all these other characters, and it's very character driven, very focused on the drama between how they want to survive and what they want to do to avoid the zombies, more so than it is about like the kills or anything else. It's really just about the individual character drama.
Yeah. Which is what all three of his movies are to certain degrees. And what a lot of people who are aping these don't understand.
Yeah,
These aren't great movies because there's a bunch of flesh eating monsters. They're great movies with flesh eating monsters.
yeah, they're not great because of the zombies. They're great because of the people, the main characters.
Maybe the people were the real friends we made along the way.
Yeah.
So I mentioned at the start of the review that I don't think this sets any of the rules. Or it doesn't set most of them. The headshot thing is not mentioned in this movie.
Is it not?
Uh, no, not
I
unless I
remember
missed it.
I remember on the news when they're talking to the like group of people that are killing zombies. I think one of them said something about aiming for the head.
Okay, maybe. The big thing in this one is the fire.
Yes.
They don't call them zombies in this. They're ghouls.
They're ghouls or those things.
They don't set. They don't specifically say that it's the bite that changes you in this one. Um, and the zombies are smarter in this one.
Hmm. I
The
mean, they
one
are kind of dumb, but yeah,
I when I say smarter, I mean smarter for a zombie compared to
you're right.
like Dawn of the Dead. In this one, they're using rocks and gardening tools and
That's
stuff
right.
like that.
Yeah. Yeah, you
Whereas,
have the little girl zombie killing her mother with the like something from the tool shed or whatever.
yeah, whereas Dawn is the one that's there's zombies, shoot them in the head, the bite
Hmm.
turns you, etc. Um, and obviously Dawn is the best one. I'm sorry, that's just a fact. If you disagree, you're wrong. I'm sorry.
So After watching this again, I think that's actually pretty debatable.
Oh, I don't think so. Go back and rewatch Dawn.
I do need to rewatch Dawn because it's been a while, but I think they're neck and neck for me at this point.
So I will up front say I've always considered this the weakest of the trilogy. Um, I still do, but not in a bad way. It's just it's in a trilogy consisting of the three of the best horror films ever made.
Yeah.
This is the best experience I've had with this, and part of me wonders if it's because I watched Halloween Ends last night, so this was a breath of fucking fresh air.
Oh, we'll get
Review
to
of that coming
Halloween
Monday.
ends. We'll
Yeah,
get to
review.
Halloween ends.
But Barbara's not as annoying as I always remember her being, and I don't know if that's something that I've just either she annoyed me more in previous viewings or it's in my head that she's annoying. Because I feel like that's the big common complaint, right?
Yeah, it is, and I've heard that a lot, and I do understand that complaint. I don't think she's all that annoying. On this viewing, I kind of thought about it, and I feel like she is she has the reaction that most people would have in this scenario, where you kind of just freeze up and you have no idea what to do because like this is a completely like
Well,
life
and
changing event. You know.
and it's funny because I remember her being a lot more obnoxious. Not just like the
Yeah.
freezing up, but I always in my head I always remember there being a lot more of like her screaming and crying. And like there's little bits of that, but it's not as annoying as that. Um
No, it all just kind of feels natural. Like this is how
yeah.
someone would react in this scenario.
Yeah. Uh Dwayne Dwayne John Dwayne Dwayne
Dwayne Jones.
Jones.
Yeah,
Fucking great in this movie.
he's amazing.
He is amazing. I love Tony Todd. Tony Todd is also amazing in his take. But like, damn, Dwayne Jones he knew what he was in.
Yeah, and I think he's probably the best actor in this movie. But across the board, I think the acting's pretty good.
Well, what's
It feels
impressive,
yeah,
uh, I agree with you. The acting all around is good, which makes it more impressive that so you know the farmhand that gets killed.
yeah.
This is his only movie.
Oh, really? Yeah, he wasn't that bad in this movie.
Cooper was a producer on the film,
Oh, okay.
and
Yeah,
he's
he
also really
definitely.
good.
Yeah, yeah. No, I imagine since this was probably like a cheap production, they couldn't afford a lot of like
It's
big name actors, so they had to
it's an
go
Evil
with
Dead
whatever they
thing,
had.
right? Like you
Hmm.
bring in a bunch of local people and you make a film.
You just made for Evil Dead, they just made a movie with their friends.
Yeah.
But yeah, yeah. I mean, the acting, I think it kind of lends to how good the acting is because it feels a little bit more natural than a lot of films I've seen from this era, where it's not like people are like, oh, I do need to see more of that, but it's not like people acting like, oh, I'm in a movie. It's just they're behaving like how they would
People.
in this.
I
Yeah,
mean, I will go as far as to say of the '60s movies I've seen, which admittedly is not a lot, and it's the ones I have seen are all in the horror genre. This is the best one. This is my favorite '60s film.
hmm
Um, Obviously, not on purpose, but 1968 casting a black man as your lead. Or I don't want to say not on purpose,
yeah,
but they weren't thinking about that when they cast him. So George Romero says.
yeah, and it's still a groundbreaking thing, no matter
And
what.
I tend to believe him. So I'm going to get into the political subtext of this movie, I guess, a little bit, which I'm not qualified at all to do. But obviously, very progressive with casting a black man in the lead, but very 60s in how it writes the women.
Yeah,
Very
yeah.
60s.
You win some, you lose some. uh,
Well, it is what it is.
yeah, because
Um,
you kind of have Barbara who like yeah, she's like acts how a lot of people would, but at the same time, she kind of just like screams and is scared throughout the whole movie. but then you do have the one black character like taking charge and becoming the leader of the group.
Well, you've got her. You've got Mrs. Cooper, who really is just there to do whatever her husband says, and then
Yeah.
you've got the other lady who runs out and gets herself killed.
Yeah, and I
Um,
don't even remember her name. The
no,
like that guy's girlfriend.
Judy. Judy.
Judy, yeah.
Um, which I'm gonna be honest, that's always been the weirdest part of this movie is like they end up killing themselves because they don't know how to operate a gas pump.
Yeah. Yeah, that scene's a little awkward. It is
Yeah,
pretty tense though.
yeah. The music in this is phenomenal. I noticed
Hmm.
that especially on this viewing, and I think that's what kind of helps set the atmosphere because everything feels purposeful. Nothing is just like, oh, we're just do this, I guess.
Yeah. That that the music definitely sets the atmosphere, as well as I would also say just the fact that it is shot in black and white, which color was a thing at this point, but it was
There
obviously
is
cheap.
a there is a
Yeah.
color version of this that exists.
There is a colored version, and I haven't seen the full thing, but from what clips I have seen, it just completely ruins the movie.
Really,
Because,
it's funny.
yeah,
I had the colored version on DVD because it's just the first copy that I found, and I've still
mhm.
never seen it.
Yeah, I mean, you can tell with the zombie effects, you can tell like how fake
That's what I was
certain
afraid
things
of.
are, and it just the whole atmosphere of the movie just feels different too. Like it's not as scary, it's not as creepy.
I'm glad that you mentioned that because that is something that I noticed while watching this. In my opinion, with the black and white, I think the gore looks really good.
Yeah,
Like that scene where they're just munching on bones and
when they're just
flesh,
eating all the meat and stuff. Yeah, that's a really
which
creepy scene.
I have heard. I don't have any sources. This is just something I have heard that was chicken wings, like chicken wings, and
Yeah,
chocolate sauce.
chocolate sauce. Yeah, I heard that too. Um,
Oh,
I mean,
like I couldn't be an
yeah,
actor. You tell me to eat that, I'm just like you're fucking nuts.
yeah, no, it's I would. I mean, I would. No one would want to eat that, but I mean, chocolate sauce. It's actually a pretty good idea if you're shooting it in black and white, just because like it doesn't have any color, but it sure looks like blood, and it has like that consistency to it.
Right, absolutely. There's one effect that I think looks rough, but it's not like a deal breaker. It's just something worth noting. Is when Barb first gets to the house and she's like going up the stairs and you see like the decomposing body.
Yeah.
I don't know if you had this, but that body looks really bad.
Oh, I wasn't really paying that much attention to it.
I
I'd have to
I,
look
I
at it
watched
again.
this in 4K so I could see everything.
Oh, that's right. I didn't watch the 4K version. I need to get that eventually.
Yes, you do.
Yeah, but either that or I know Criterion has the Blu-ray and now they have the 4K version. Um,
Now somebody just needs to do a Day of the Dead 4K so I can have the whole trilogy in 4K.
yeah, no, that'd be great.
Um, yeah, I mean this a lot of what's interesting about this movie is just the simplicity and the unintentional commentary or how progressive it was for its time. But obviously there's some thoughtful commentary on just how human beings cannot cooperate. There can be
Exactly.
fucking zombies outside and they will still find something to fight about.
And without getting too political again, like that's something that reigns true today. Like how divided we are as a country right now. So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, this movie is pretty timeless in that way.
I would argue, especially I noticed this watching this version. They cleaned this up so well. This looks like it could have come out today, for
Yeah,
the most part.
Criterion usually does a fantastic job with that stuff.
The other thing that I think is interesting because the main source of conflict is specifically between Cooper and Ben,
And Ben, yeah,
a black guy and a white guy in 1968.
yeah,
And
yeah,
I like that
and
the movie doesn't side on one side. They're both kind of assholes to each other.
They are, and their conflict isn't really about their race too. Like they don't bring that up. Like he doesn't use any Cooper doesn't use any slurs against Ben or anything. It's just more so based on their two separate ideas of how to handle the situation.
Yeah. And you know, that might be the most surprising thing to me, that this never calls attention to the fact that Ben is black.
Yeah, especially in the late 60s. I think that in its own way is a pretty, good thing about the and kind of progressive thing about the movie. It's just like we're all
Well,
just
it's
people.
like, and I appreciate that. Like, I really do appreciate that about this movie. But I have a hard time imagining, even in the '60s, that progressive was that progressive. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. Well,
but
and
it
and
is impressive.
also it also goes back to what Romero was saying about they didn't have a single race in mind for their main actor. So just just the way it
I
would have played out the same way if Ben was white, I think.
Yeah, I would have loved to see what like original reactions to this was.
Especially the ending. Like this is one of the classic uh
Good
bad
endings.
endings for a horror movie.
Yeah, that's the one thing they ruin in the remake.
Oh, really? Okay. I'm gonna need to watch that remake.
Yeah, I like it. It's not like amazing, but you got Tony Todd. What's not to like?
Tony Todd's the man.
Yeah, Tony Todd is the man, and he says Koopa a lot. And also in the remake, Bill Mosley plays Johnny
Oh, nice.
Chop Top.
Did I forget, did you have something you wanted to say about the Criterion 4K release for this?
Yes. So before we
Okay.
go any further, I'm just going to rant about this for a minute. This is the laziest release from Criterion that I have ever seen. Not in
Mm,
quality of the movie itself. Movie looks amazing in 4K. I was surprised. But
mhm.
they just took the Blu-ray that they already sold, slapped it in one of these plastic ones, and added the 4K disc. There's absolutely
Oh,
nothing
really?
new about this release other than the 4K copy of the movie. It
Oh.
it even
So all the
has, and
special features are the same.
I believe so. I'm pretty sure they are. And because I have the Blu-ray release as well, it even has the same exact fucking poster and essay.
Wow. Yeah, that's not too surprising, but they could have put a little more effort into it.
I wish at the very least like I wanted better packaging. This is just a like plastic case. Whereas the Blu-ray it comes
Yeah.
in like those nice digibooks.
Yeah, they're looking
Same
to save
artwork
some
too.
money there.
Same artwork.
It's the same cover. It's a pretty good cover.
Great cover.
Um,
And I don't know if you saw it on Discord, but Letterboxd has this as an option for Night of the Living Dead.
yeah, I don't know if that's available for the
For the
like
cheap users.
yeah, the people who don't pay for Letterboxd.
Also, I don't know about you, but I miss disc art.
Criterion's usually is really the one that's still doing it, and there's also like Arrow
Ah,
and stuff doing that too.
come on.
Oh, come on, get in focus.
Hold on. I'm gonna have to just. That's it.
Yeah, no, it looks nice. It
I
is
mean, it looks
just
nice, but it's just the logo.
it is just the logo, but it's like it's at least something.
Eh,
A lot of times you just have like I don't know, just like
I guess my room
the
doesn't look as bad as I thought it did. I cleaned it up a little bit, but you can see my makeshift
mm,
shelf in the back.
yeah, a little peek behind the scenes.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, this movie's an absolute classic.
So let me ask you this. Um, because obviously none of the three movies are connected other than the themes. Do you buy that this is in the same world as the other two?
I mean, I'd have to watch them all back to back
Well,
again.
and let me just tell you, that is a fascinating way to watch these.
Yeah, because I remember Dawn opens up where they're like right in the middle of it, as opposed to this movie where it's the very beginning. Um, so you could, I mean, if you wanted to, I don't think there's anything necessarily like contradicting the events of
He
any of the
mentions it.
movies. Yeah, because they're all just self-contained stories. So, if I remember correctly, there's no like actual contradiction. So I guess you can headcanon your way into these are all set in the same universe.
Well, and there's a book that came out a couple years ago by George Romero. He had started it and somebody finished it. That
Finished it after he died.
kind of pieces them together so that they're all in the same universe. And I would say that I think you could connect the first four as all being in the same world. I don't know. Have
Well,
you seen Land of the Dead?
I have seen Land of the Dead.
That's the
I
fourth
didn't.
one.
I didn't care for it.
Oh, really? I like that movie. Like,
Yeah,
okay, I think we reviewed that already, but if we didn't, spoilers for my opinion on Land of the Dead.
I think you
So,
did
like,
with
the
Milton.
originals, of course, are all flawless, right? That's like a 3 on Letterbox. It's 2.5, 3. It's a fun
It's like a
watch.
2.5 at
It's
most for
fun.
me.
Dennis Hopper, man.
Yeah, Dennis Hopper. That's true. He's good in it.
And you get a Simon
Um,
Pegg cameo.
yeah, but that's just like 1 second.
Yeah, I like that movie.
Um, I mean, I think my ranking would be like Dawn's first, and then this, then Day and Land, from what I've seen.
Okay, interesting. So we'll go ahead and do that then. You've done your ranking. Mine is Dawn, then Day, then this, then Land. But I always say that it's my least favorite of them because Land is, 20 years later. So in my
Yeah,
head, these are still a trilogy.
I'd say the
Um,
first three work more
as
as
a
a trilogy
trilogy.
than like Land feels a little bit unnecessary. It's like, why are you still doing zombie movies?
That's all he could get.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah. Uh, anything else you want to cover? Oh, we only mentioned the ending. We didn't even talk about it.
Oh, right. Yeah. I was going to
So
segue into it, but we didn't get that far.
obviously, very important ending. Ben survives, but then is shot because they think he's a zombie. Is the
Yeah, because
implication that I get?
he's very tired and he's like shuffling around like a zombie, so they mistake him for a
Very
zombie. But also, I don't know because Romero claims that casting a black man wasn't the original intention, but I don't know, there might be something there.
well, and I think that a lot of people read into that, and I think that is a possibility. Because while I fully believe him that that's just the best person they could get, I don't believe that doesn't alter your perception of the character as you're
Right.
making the film. So you
And
think there
like
may be some subtext that they shot him on purpose because he was black.
maybe, I mean, Romero, we can bring in, we can talk about authorial intent with Romero, or we could just like analyze it for what it is. And just looking at it for what it is, it seemed like, black guy in the 60s. These guys could have just used hunting zombies as an excuse to just kill that guy. Um,
I
I don't know
think
though.
I think there's always going to be the authorial intent, but I don't think the authorial intent is the end of the day.
Mhm.
That just I think
I'm not like full death of the author, but you can have interpretations that maybe the author didn't think of.
I think if you only go by what the author is saying, you are limiting what films can say.
Yeah, absolutely.
Granted, I don't always pick up on themes right away. And sometimes I just like a movie that doesn't have themes. My favorite movie is Evil
Yeah.
Dead 2. Tell me the thematic, importance of Evil Dead 2, please. I
Hey.
dare you. It's the chainsaws are cool.
Yes. Chainsaws are cool and groovy.
Groovy.
Um,
Watch that here soon. We need to do a commentary on that. I can't believe we've never done a commentary on Evil Dead
holy
2.
shit. Yeah, we should. Wait, have you or that was your first review, right? Evil Dead 2?
That yes, that was our very first review with a whole different setup and reviewer. I
Uh-huh.
do plan to revisit that one day.
Okay, yeah, I'll be down to review that at some point.
I that will probably be our like first hour long video because I can talk about Evil Dead 2 like all fucking day. I love that.
Yeah, I'm
These movies
happy
are
to do it.
masterpieces. Evil Dead is still my favorite trilogy of films.
Yeah, and as much as I love this movie, I think Evil Dead 2 is way more entertaining, but
I mean, that
you
is
know,
yeah, that movie's nuts.
apples and oranges.
Oh yeah. All
Um,
right. But yeah, I definitely think even if it's not intended, there is the subtext there of a white man hunting down and shooting a black man in the '60s.
yeah, and I think Romero also could just be saying that that wasn't the intention, so he doesn't have to talk about it. Like a lot of the directors, even David Lynch refuses to talk about the themes or anything, the deeper meaning behind his movies. So you have
And
directors that just want to let their work speak for themselves.
and I'm usually all for that, but I think if there's one director that needs to explain what the fuck is going on in his movies, it's David Lynch.
Nah, but I don't know. That makes it so
Maybe
much more
maybe not
interesting.
spell it out to me, but give me a fucking clue.
Yeah, that man he refuses to explain anything about his movies, which I
Some
respect.
directors won't shut up about their movies.
Yeah, and I mean, I'd rather have you just like let your work speak for itself than just
I mean,
rave
like I
on
give them
about how
shit,
great
but
your movie
honestly, I
is.
typically just ignore whatever the director says. Like unless it's just world building stuff that I know that they're thinking about, I don't care.
Hmm. Yeah. Well, there was just that element I was thinking about. Mary, maybe Romero just wants people to think about it for themselves rather than ask him what his intent, what
And
his whole
that's
idea was behind it.
and and maybe that's true, and I think that's a very valid direction to take it.
Hmm.
Um, because I think even with this movie, even with him not explaining, we're all kind of in agreement the themes, right? There's just
Yeah.
little things that are like this could mean this, but we don't have any evidence of that.
Well, all of our evidence is just like in the movie, but everyone has different perceptions of what they're seeing. So
Yeah.
you can, much like Ben and Cooper in the movie, you can get into arguments about like what the right interpretation is, but really, it's whatever.
Also, I want to say the cinematography, gorgeous. There's that shot where the first zombie, comes crawling out, and like the lightning
Mhm.
strikes.
Yeah,
So good.
yeah, this movie looks great. They really, it was in terms of cinematography and just like effects, they really knew how to use their budget for this movie.
Well, and Tom Savini was supposed to do this, but he got drafted to Vietnam.
Oh, really? Yeah, and I know that like his experience in Vietnam influences a lot of his work.
Yeah. So he didn't make this, so he could go on to make Dawn of the Dead, Friday the 13th,
Yeah, and Day
etc.
of the Dead too. Didn't he work on Day of the Dead?
Yes, that is his masterpiece.
Yeah,
That
I was
movie
gonna
is
say
fucking disgusting.
that I was gonna say the effects are probably the best thing about Day of the Dead. As much as I like that movie.
I like the setting and kind of the claustrophobic nature of it. I would argue that movie is even more claustrophobic than this one.
Oh yeah, there's a debate there. Yeah, I have to
Also,
watch it again though.
without question, the best human villain in any of these movies.
Oh yeah,
I'm running this
such a
monkey
scenery
farm
trip.
now, Frankenstein. I don't know what the fuck you're doing.
I love that Red Letter Media plays that clip all the time.
I love it. It's so funny.
Yeah. Um.
Well,
But
Noah, I
no, I
have a
mean,
feeling I know
mhm,
what your answer is going to be. What is your final score for Night of the Living Dead?
10 out of 10.
That is not our scale, sir.
5 out of 5.
There you go.
Forgot where
Well,
forgot where I
how
was.
dare you? Well, sir, it looks like we have another addition to the 5 out of 5 club because I'm giving this a 5 out of 5.
A 10
Which
out of
is
5.
funny because I looked on Letterboxd when I went to re-review this, and last time I only gave it a 4. So it went up a whole star this time.
Same here. Yeah, I only gave it a 4 last time. I don't know. I think the last time both of us watched this movie was a little bit of a weird experience, but I think we both had a better viewing this time.
Then tomorrow you're gonna go see a worse movie, so this will look even fucking better.
Oh God. Oh, I'm so
I don't
worried
know why
about
you
it.
just didn't watch it at home.
Because a friend of mine wants to see it.
You can't just invite. I don't. We talk about that later. Anyway, anything else that you want to bring up before we call it a night on this review of the classic Night of the Living Dead?
No, I think we covered everything, and honestly, I think it would be a shame for Horror Channel not to give this a 5 out of 5 perfect score.
I mean, you say that, but I didn't give Halloween a perfect score, and here we are. Nothing's
Yeah.
safe here, folks, except Evil Dead, because Evil Dead 2 is a masterpiece. All right, Noah, as always, it has been a blast talking movies with you. I'm so glad we finally did this. Um, and next week, The Lost Boys. Our
Yeah.
first time seeing it, and we will have, unless something changes from now to next Friday, we will have Connor Nielsen back on the channel for the first time since The People Under the Stairs.
Hell yeah, I can't wait to watch that movie.
Same, I'm so excited. Well,
All
we will
right.
see you. And of course, Monday, we will be doing Halloween Ends live review. I might just say fuck it and live stream that one. We'll see.
Yeah, it's been a while since you did a live review.
Yeah. So we will see you guys Monday for Halloween Ends. Have a
See
great
you
night,
Monday.
everybody.